Peace and blessings, everyone. How are you doing? I hope all is well. Um, I want to come on here and I want to talk about the number 25. And this is the podcast of Backyard Dog Boulevard. Um, I want to come on here and talk about the number 25. I was poised to do it. I was poised to do it. Um, I will say it's a lot that's taking place in the news. I thought I was tripping this morning when I heard that a man had attacked Dave Chappelle. I'm like, well, I thought about it. I said, well, yeah, Jupiter's about to go into Aries, so we can pretty much expect a lot of drastic things that we can expect a lot of drastic things to happen. Because I thought I was tripping. I had to let out the window when I heard that on the radio. I'm like, wait a minute, did I hear wrong? Because the wind was blowing in my ears. Shit. but but it's a lot of things happening though. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of things taking place, especially with that with their ruling on abortion, with that abortion no with that draft. It's a draft, it's not an official ruling, it's a draft that was leaked um from within inside the Supreme Court with the justices on a in a draft ruling stating, I mean, of striking down Roe versus Wade or abortion. I said, um, but my take on it is that even though I'm not for abortion personally, in my opinion, but I do believe, on the other hand, that women should have the right to um women should also have the right to choose. They should be able to have the right to choose what they want to do with their body. Um, so I know I heard people talking about some, you know, after they have gotten after they get have a child, some people there probably throw up like, well, they should get their tube side and stuff like that, and especially with some of the men. And then the thing is, with us men, we don't even know what it feel like to be a woman. We don't know, we're men, um we don't know what it feel like to be a woman. And then the things that you women have to go through, we don't us men, we don't know what it feels like to be a woman or to be a female, and what a female has to go through. Only a female knows that, and they will be able to tell us about that. But we can't, but we don't know what it feels like, or how we can observe that. But other than that, we don't know what it feels like, because we're different. You females are, you all were created in a different way. So it's like, that's why I understand, like I said, even though I'm not, even though my stance, personally, in my opinion, I'm not, I'm not pro-abortion. But however, um, I am for the women to have rights to the women, that I do believe that the women should have rights to decide what they want to do with their own body. And that's their right. It's just like, people with different religious beliefs and stuff, like me. Even though I'm spiritual, not religious. And as spirituality and religion are two different things. Um, so, which I will talk about another day. It's very two different things. It's very two different things. It's not more so. It's not because people get. I notice people tend to get it intertwined, and they tend to get it confused. With religion and spirituality. When they talk about, they think spirituality the same thing as religion. Like, whereas you claim not to be religious, but you still looking at other things outside. You still looking for answers. Still looking for answers outside of you, like through a book or something that was created. My thing is, the way how I see it, my own opinion, is spirituality. Um, Spirituality is like basically To me, it's pretty authentic in itself. I say that. I will like I said, I will make a separate video about that another day. But but on the other hand, back to what I was saying, just like people who are religious and stuff like that, it just like me, by me being spiritual and not religious, or don't subscribe to any type of religion, any of their books like the Bible or the Quran, I don't subscribe to those. It's pretty much cut and dry with me because I got a lot of Scorpio in my chart. So Scorpio placements in my chart, it's cut and dry when you have that. I don't. So with me, it's pretty cut and dry for me. I don't. If something don't resonate with me, or it don't align, or if it don't resonate with me, I don't try to fit. I don't try to. I don't try to make it fit or make it resonate. In other words, what I mean is that I show respect towards that religion or whatever that is. I show respect towards that and its laws and its morals and all of that. I show respect towards that. It's just like with groups, if groups and stuff doesn't resonate with me or people, I show respect towards them, and I give them their respect, and I show respect by, okay, I can't find a way to resonate with this. We don't resonate. Can't seem to. We don't resonate here, or we can't seem to come to some type of compromise, or we don't resonate with anyway. I respect that. Okay, they believe in what they believe in, practice what they practice. They have their own set of morals and standards and values and stuff, like versus me. I don't align with that. So I don't try to align with that. I don't try to stretch it and try to align with it. I pretty much more so I stay true and authentic to me. And if it don't align, if something doesn't align with me, I'm not gonna sit up here and try to stretch it and make it to align with me, or I'm not gonna try to stretch any of its truths to make it align with me. If it don't align with me, it just don't align with me. It's just that simple, and I keep it moving. That's how I do it. It's cut and dry with me. But I've encountered some people in the past, and that when I told them that I'm spiritual, not religious. When I disclosed that to them in the conversations, it's like some of them got emotional. Some of them they got very emotional. So I said, what does the Bible say and stuff? You cannot ask me that question. You cannot sit up there and ask me that question when I may not know nothing about that. I can't, because they'll be like me, responding to something that I don't know anything about, and I'm setting myself up for a debate. Whereas I'm setting myself up for something, putting myself in a position, and setting myself up for something that I have to back up, and I cannot back it up because I'm setting myself up for a loss, and I'm setting myself up for failure because I'm putting myself in a position, whereas I cannot. Whereas I cannot back it up due to I don't know anything about it. I mean, that would not make sense, So that's why I was telling people, you cannot ask me something. You can ask me about something, but if I tell you I don't know about it, if I don't get no response, or if I choose not to respond, or if I don't tell you about it, that means that I'm not gonna sit up here. Or if I tell you I don't know anything about that, that means that I'm not dumb enough to sit up here and I'm not dumb enough to sit up here to put myself in a predicament to look like a fool, make a fool of myself at the end of the day. Which I feel that's a safer way to do it, rather than to shoot myself in the foot by putting myself in a predicament to look like a fool at the end of the day. So that's why I be asking people. And I feel like when people say that ask that, they don't have that clear understanding when a person says that. And when that person says that ask something like that, I feel that person, they're not being objective. They're being emotional. They're not being as objective. or that not being objective enough to really understand. So when you look at that, at the end of the day, I feel like people like that, when they do stuff like that, they're the ones that shoot themselves in the foot at the end of the day, and they have to learn to be objective rather than sit up here being emotional and being narrow minded. So so with that being said, that's, but like I said, I respect, people who have different beliefs, or I'm the type, if I don't resonate with something, I'm not gonna align with it. If I don't resonate with something, I'm not going to align with it. I keep it moving. However, I do respect that particular system. I show respect towards that particular system because that's that particular system. That's how it was designed. That's how it was established, or whatever the case is. But if it doesn't resonate with me, I'm not going to subscribe to it, and I'm not going to align with it. I'm not going to subscribe to it. So that's how that is. So, but on the other hand, it's a whole different story, and it's a whole different situation that's being created when you're crossing boundaries. So, which is something that people should be careful of doing. When it comes down to such things like that, and they should listen carefully, or pay close attention, because it can cost you in the end of the day when you're not really paying close attention or listening carefully, and if you're not and if you're not being objective about things, it's definitely going to cost you at the end of the day, especially if you let your emotions and impulses just constantly take over. It will cost you at the end of the day. So, you know, I remember they used to always say, there's always the old saying, like they say, pick and choose your battles wisely. Some people think it applies physically, but it applies other ways too. And I find that as I gotten older to be a true saying. You got to pick and choose your battle wisely. Because one thing about it, at the end of the day, there's always a dark horse up under the blind spots of the sun that's waiting to trip you up, or that will trip you up, and that you don't see that's there. So that's why you had to be careful, in my opinion. But anywho, what I want to come on here and talk about is I want to talk about the number 25 and how some ways it can show up. Talk about a few ways of how it can show up in your chart. With that number 25, the number 25 itself can represent trials and tribulations. It can show up in different ways. It really all depends. With the number 25, because when you think about the number 25, guess what? When you reduce 2 plus 5, guess what? It come up to 7. So when you think about that, think about, let's say if somebody have like their Gemini in the 3rd house and it's at the 25th degree. When somebody have that in the 3rd house at the 25th degree, that chances are they could be suffering, depending on what aspect of it. They could be or making hard aspects to it. They could be suffering like from health issues of some sort. It's more so like they may suffer like with short-term memory, or memory that's going in and out. They may not pay attention to details well and tend to get caught up in the end. In other ways, it can show up in other ways, like whereas let's say, like for example, because like I said, it's something that a person could be dealing with in that case, especially health wise. They probably dealing with for quite some time. And the thing is that by that's happening because Gemini in the 3rd house can represent dementia as well, or someone coming down with dementia or Alzheimer's. So when that shows up in that 3rd house, because it rules the lower mind, so when that shows up in the 3rd house, so especially at 25 degrees, like the 25 can help kind of prolong that for quite some time, maybe. Some people may end up normally with that. They may end up or if they have the Chiron there, or if it's in Virgo or something, if they have harsh afflictions, they may end up tending to some people may end up tending to bite their nails, bite their skin, on their fingers and stuff like that, or they may tend to pull their hair and stuff. And see, it's like they may try to stop it, but at the same time, it's like they probably done it for quite some time to the point where it's kind of hard to stop. And see, that's how that number 25 would show up. That's how it would show up. It could be due from some type of traumatic event, probably from in their earlier life or some sort. But see, with the number 25, it's more so like it can be tough trying to stop it, but it does have to be a stopping point. But you have to make some type of sacrifice. There's a number 25, that 7 again showing up. It had to be some type of sacrifice made in order for that to happen. Like, okay, you have to go see a counselor, or you have to learn different methods of trying to stop that and try to cope with it. It's more so kind of like, I'm not a smoker or a drinker, but it's more so like, when even though I drink socially, like at parties or something, or gatherings or activities, but I'm not a drinker, like an everyday drinker or nothing, or a heavy drinker. I'm not a drinker, and I'm not just a social drinker. Like I said, it's on social occasions only. But then I'm not a drinker, and I'm definitely not a smoker. But it's more so like how, for what I observe from other people, how when they stop smoking a cigarette, and when they stop smoking cigarettes, or try to stop smoking cigarettes, and next thing you know, you have some of these people that are getting spells and stuff like that. But they still trying to cope with not having to smoke a cigarette. That's how it is when it come down. That's how it is when it come down to that number 25. Especially when you try to break habits and stuff. That's how it is when it come down to that 25. You trying to cope with something. With that 25 energy, and that's how the trials and tribulations show up. But if you have the mindset and the determination to not allow that to overtake you again, those habits, it's like you can achieve victory over that. You can be victorious over that. um it's just like if you have Taurus at the 25 degree. If you have Taurus at the 25 degree, it all depending on where it's placed at. And more so like some people will tend to, they may have trouble saying no. It all depends on where it's placed. Or if they have Libra at the 25 degree, they may have trouble saying no or going against something that don't fit in with them. But they'll sit up there, and they may have issues being direct. They may have issues of they may fear the consequence. They may fear consequences that come behind it, or what could come, or they may fear face the consequences you know if they have to go against, or if they were to set their boundaries, or going or setting their own consequence, going against what doesn't align with them, especially if there's any injustice or anything. It more so like it's more so like a person just laying down with it, rather than taking a stance against it. They fold, they lay down with it, they go with the flow of it, rather than taking a stance against that. And see, that's how people go through karmic lessons about that, because Gemini in the third house does represent about saying no and discriminating in turn and using discernment. So with that, it's more so with that, people with that, they have that type of, when they have that 25 degree on a placement, special place, more than likely going through some type of trials or tribulations of some sort in regards to wherever that is. Because they tend to sabotage themselves, or they tend to sacrifice themselves a lot. So therefore a void can be filled, so they can get past that moment. It's more so like kind of like in a way of escapism. Actually, when you look at it, the number 7 really actually even though in astrology, people may think about it as the seventh house and stuff, but when you look at numerology and astronomy wise, actually is it actually, the number seven actually correlates to Cancer and Pisces. And when you look at Pisces, does represent sacrifice, and Cancer on the other hand would represents having to go again, you having to, because I talked about Cancer represents soul power, and how the soul could be empowered is that you have to try something different. Like, in other words, you have to try saying no and things of that nature. You have to learn those things. So the number seven does connect back to Pisces and Cancer, Cancer energy. So, and it's like you may feel like you're victorious, but it's still like you may feel like something is coming in the way. And the thing is, when you do that, you have to embrace whatever. You have to embrace those tough lessons, those tough obstacles, and overcome them. You have to embrace whatever it's teaching you. That's how you actually come in alignment with that 25 energy, be able to work with it. Because like I said, you can be able to work with those numbers. But that 25 energy, like I said, it brings a lot of trials and tribulations. Actually, you may feel like you're being stifled in some way, or like something always getting in your way of some sort with that 25 energy. But once you learn to work with that 25 energy, at the end of the day, it's like it'll be working. It's gonna feel tough, especially early in life as you coming up. But later in life, it's like as you get older, it's like once you embrace those tough cycles, it's like, and once you embrace the toughness of those cycles, of those lessons that's teaching you, it pertains to wherever that is. It's like you will it's like you'll be able to know how to work with that energy at the end of the day, because even though you have opposing forces that will come towards you, but at the end of the day, you have to learn to work with that energy. You'll learn to work with that energy. That's how, especially when you have Saturn in the mix, that's how it works. It's going to take you through that. You have to learn that. It's tough, but you got to learn it. And escaping things is not always a good thing. I tell people, I used to tell somebody this, escaping things, to myself, okay, you got the a person used to tell me to myself, now I just sit up there, I won't do nothing, I just pray and this and that while they were getting dogged out and stuff. I said, no, what that situation is teaching you is that you got to stand up to yours. You got to stand up against that person. You got to stand up for yourself, because ain't nobody else is not going to stand up for you. You got to be able to stand up for yourself. That person is using you to test you. That person would use her to test her. You got to be able to stand up. You got to be able to stand up. If that person really is being used, they were a soulmate in her life, and they were being divinely used as, or divinely there as, a teacher in her life to help her overcome overcome that habit of escaping situations just for to get by, or for to feel good, or make things feel good, or for to bring peace. It's not always supposed to be that. No, you got to stand up. You got to take a stance at some point, because if you don't, and if you don't set your boundaries and consequence and let it be known, guess what? People are going to continue to do what they're doing. They're going to continue to do what they're doing. You got to take your stance. You got to take a stance against that. And even if you have a 29 energy in your chart too, it may, and if you have that too, that may, with that 25 energy, that may, don't get me wrong, it may kind of make it seem like it's taking you all your might and power to take a stance against it. But one thing about it, at the end of the day, when you take this stance, at least you've been took this stance. and then then you overcame something, especially if you had a hard time overcoming that. That's just like with me. I got my south no I got my Lilith at the 25, my Lilith in the first house at the 25 degree. And I'm up here on YouTube being authentic, and I see how the subscribers used to go up and down. Like I've seen some people they'll unsubscribe, they'll resubscribe. I seen that, you know. But the thing is, in the past, I used to feel like I'll shut down when I have people and opposing forces coming towards me. I used to feel like, and see, mind you, I'm in this inverse nodal return, and I just not too long had that happen, and I'm in this inverse nodal return, and I got Uranus sitting there in my first, transiting my first, conjoining my Lilith, and see, here's the thing, because I had tests like that come towards me, but the thing is here is that I cannot shut down. I have to more so whether if I'm getting the attention, the views, or whatever or not, I have to continue to be authentic to me and my craft and what I'm doing. Besides worrying about the numbers and stuff like that and what people would think and stuff. Because I had a person commented on my stuff not too long ago. When I was coming through the comments, I'm not gonna call that person's name, and they wasn't a subscriber to my channel. I thought they were, but they wasn't. They mentioned that they wasn't, and I'm being just objective about it. And I told that person, I said, because the person, one of the people comment on my video talk about, so this video is ridiculous. And my thing is, I was like, okay, I respect, I respect, and this goes for any of you. I respect that there are currently my subscribers that come across my channel. I respect your opinions, because I allow opinions and people to have their opinions and exercise their own freedom of speech. I allow all of that over here. I do, because other than that, I would not allow that. I would not have the comment section open like some of the other channels does. So that shows that how much I value your opinion and beliefs. However, at the end of the day, I do have a right to respond whenever I see the need to respond. So when you look at the end of the day, that's like an equal opportunity. That's fair game to me. At the end of the day, like I said, I don't mind you having your own opinions and beliefs and let it be known, or you speak your mind and stuff. I don't mind that, but what you will not do, you will not sit up here and disrespect me. Cause this person was like, this person out when I was responding to the person, I was responding to them into a very objective way. I was basically telling the person, I was like, okay, honestly, first of all, I acknowledged them and I thanked them for the comment. I greeted them properly and I thanked them for their comment. I did appreciate them for their comment, because they helped me get my content out there. But at the end of the day, I told that person, I said, they may have an issue. If they have an issue with they may have an issue with the content that I post. If they do, I cannot help them with that. I told them only way how they be able to help themselves with that. They'll be able to help themselves with that, because that's their issue. Only way how they'll be able to help themselves with that, the next option that they really have is to unsubscribe. So the person saying that they take their subscription elsewhere, but the person said that they was subscribed, and they said that they told me to take my reply elsewhere. I like taking my reply elsewhere, but you can't. You on my platform, under my content, comments under my content. My thing is this: if I see something that I don't truly like, I'll either, like I said, even though I acknowledge the comment, um, fine. Um, like I said, people opinions and all is welcome. But on the other hand, I'm not gonna allow anybody to disrespect me either. So as stated, at my platform, that's like in my home, trying to start a fight with me on my property. When you do that, you asking for it, you asking for trouble, and chances are you may not make it out. So when that person done that, and when they tell me to take my reply, when that person was telling me to take my reply elsewhere, and I said no, you up under my that, at which I found that was, to me, in my opinion, I found that was dumb to tell the content creator that, because that's their platform that you're under, that's the platform that you on, and that you're up here on, and you telling them that. So I find that dumb altogether to tell a content creator that, but to each of his own. But but if I see something I don't like, the way how I operated in the past, if I see something that I didn't like either, you know, like I said, even though opinions and stuff are respectfully allowed over here, as long as you're not disrespecting me. But like I said, I do have the right also to respond whenever I see the need to respond. You know, so after that happened, my thing is, if I see something I don't like either, really, for me, this is me in my opinion, I'm not going to comment. I'm going to keep it moving. I'm not going to comment no matter how much I don't like it, that content or the content creator or whatever, if I come across, or their stance or whatever, I'm going to keep it moving. That's how I am. But then again, that was the number 25 energy that was showing up. Because mind you, with the transits going on in Taurus and Scorpio, and by me having Lilith in Taurus in the first at the 25 degree, that was that energy showing up, and I felt that was a test. And it was a test for me to not to fold, and not to sacrifice and sabotage myself, and to fold and go with the flow, and allow someone to allow opposing force to disrespect me across my boundaries. So I felt that's what it were, because the first house is about the self, and Taurus does rules the throat chakra as well. Even though it rules your values, your morals, your standards, but it's about the throat chakra as well. And it's about not holding at the end, and it's about it's a willful sign. Those fixed signs are willful signs. When you have fixed energy in your chart too, those are willful. That's willful energy. It teaches you about willpower, and you standing in your own personal power. It teaches you about willpower, and not allow anyone to take that from you. Because if you do, you will feel the karmic backlash coming behind that. And you will have to deal with the consequences. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, is that you're not responsible for anyone else's actions. You're responsible for your own actions, and you're accountable, and you will be held responsible. You will be held responsible for your own actions at the end of the day, not the other person. So it's a way to do things as well. But also, on the other hand, you cannot allow people to bulldoze you like how that person did, to bulldoze you. Because I didn't let that person bulldoze me, because I wasn't going to let that happen. This is King of Wands Underworld Man Cave. King of Wands, this is lion. This is the lion den over here. You come over here disrespecting, you might not make it back out. Or if you do, you're going to leave in a very profound way. It's not called King of Wands Underworld Man Cave for nothing. This is not King of Wands Underworld Man Cave for nothing. Because when you go through underworldly experiences or go through something underworldly, you're going to be transformed in a very profound way. Or if you go into a lion's den, chances are you might not make it out. You're gonna get ate up, or you might not make it out. You may or may not make it out of there. Or if you go to a lion's den, you asking for trouble, and you may just get just that. So that's the thing there. Um, but as I stated, 25. That's what it does with that number. With the number 25, that's what it does. It will take you. It will take you through and see what I was talking about. And see why. And see, here's another thing too. And I remember I said this in the first house video, that you will bring out hidden enemies. And see, because the opposite of the first is the seventh house. The opposite of the first house is the seventh house. The seventh house is dealing with others, but that's a house of open enemies, open and hidden enemies. That's what the house of open enemies. And see, that's another way how enemies can be made, when you stand up for yourself. And when you don't allow yourself to be, you don't sabotage yourself, and you don't allow yourself to, and you don't sacrifice yourself, or you don't allow anyone to bulldoze you or anything of that nature. And you set your boundaries, you make your boundaries a consequence to be known, and you be true, and you be authentic to you, and you defend what's yours. That's another way how enemies can be created too. So, with that being said, because you're not going with the flow and aligning with that injustice. You're addressing what doesn't feel right to you, and what doesn't seem right to you, and what there's not authentically, what you cannot authentically align or compromise with. That's how the 25 but on the other hand, that's how that 25 energy show up. Those are some examples. That's how that 25 energy show up. It's like you may feel like you get it somewhere. It takes you through trials or tribulations of some sort. It pertains to whatever it is. But yet at the same time, eventually you will overcome it. You just have to embrace those tough cycles that it take you through. You have to embrace the toughness, or the tough lessons of those cycles that it take you through. Once you do that, you will, especially even later in life, you will outgrow that. You will know how to work with the schemes. You'll know how to work with that energy. You'll know how to work with that energy. It's just like what I was stating, like in the video when I was talking about soulmates and partners, when they come down partners and stuff, and how certain experiences may seem kind of difficult at early on, and that is because you have to evolve. It's teaching you to evolve, and it's those people are helping you to level up. They help you to tap into whatever it is that's in your subconscious that is constantly pointing out, and it's constantly wanting to helping you to acknowledge, especially through whatever experiences. So therefore, you can embrace that part of yourself. You can release that fear, or whatever pertaining to that, and you can acknowledge, embody, and embrace that part of yourself. So integrate the part of yourself. So therefore, you can be, as time goes along, you will become better equipped for situations like that. Because it's stated with some of the placements and aspects and stuff in that chart, it can show you what type of partner you could attract, or whatever case is, or type of people. But it will help you become better equipped for situations and people like that, which is why those type of experiences will diminish and dissolve over time, because you learn to embrace that, and you had embraced it, and what you done, you embraced it. So that's how those issues in terms of outcomes and stuff will disappear once you learn to embrace those things. That's how such experiences would disappear. That's what they meant by that. That don't mean that the experience. That don't mean that the things overall going to disappear. You just got to learn how to work. You just got to learn how to work, adjust to the energy, and work with the energy, and be better equipped for it and for the energy, those things, and for those type of experiences that will come. And that's how you'll be able to make it in life and navigate it in your life or on your life path and your journey until you leave this earth. But yes, like I said, with that number 25, to me, that 25 is kind of similar like the 29 energy to me. It's similar, but it have differences, but it's similar. But yet, at the same time, at the end of the day, with that, but yet at the end of the day, when you really look at it, at the end of the day, once you learn to embrace the tough part of whatever those cycles try to teach you, and how it's toughening you up, one thing about that, and once you level up to that, one thing about it, in the end, you'll know how to master that. You'll know how to master that energy, and whatever's pertaining to how it's playing out in your life and in your chart and stuff like that. You'll learn how to master that energy at the end of the day. Because Saturn is about self mastery. Saturn represents iron, and like this saying always say, iron sharpen iron. And that's how we are to each other, especially in terms of who we attract and stuff. That's how we are, and how we come into people's lives, especially when we're the ones that are equipped to teach each other that lesson, depending on what we need to learn, especially based off of our own subconscious. It's like we're the iron, that in that way we're the iron, and pertaining to whatever that it is, that would sharpen that person, that would help that person to evolve, that would help that person to become a better person, and that would help that person to acknowledge those things about themselves, and to teach them those lessons. We all are each other's karma at the end of the day. Because if it wasn't no such thing as karma, therefore there would no need to be having these human experiences. That's why that's why some people, because other than that, it's just like somebody would think that they're perfect. If they were very perfect, they would have no need to have human experiences go through human experiences at the end of the day, and they wouldn't be going through karma. So, but with that being said, I'm gonna leave right here. But this is Backyard Dog Boulevard, the number 25. Yeah, it's real out here. you got to level up out here. It's real out here on Backyard Dog Boulevard. But until next time, peace and many blessings.